Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Jonathan, and welcome back to Money Talks, where we want to offer you financial information and meet you where you are financially so that you're able to stick to your budget, manage to pay off your debt, and begin to save on your path to building wealth. Today, I want to offer you a stimulus check update because we're nearing some progression in this matter. So, what you might have heard if you're paying attention or if you hadn't, you would have heard many people in Congress, senators, Republicans, all talking about over the next few weeks when they get back from recess, the main concern is formulating, creating, developing a stimulus check and settling on a finalized bill to send to Donald Trump for signing. So, number one, that's exciting because many people have been hurting for weeks. I know we've had job reports that kind of threw us off and so many different things that kind of just delayed the progress of this. But as I stated in previous videos, we were looking at about an end of July, August time frame. And so that has kind of been consistent. But now we kind of know that, hey, this is where the focus of these senators, these Republicans, Democrats, all these people are actually focusing their time. Now, what are they going to actually be talking about? Well, obviously, the stimulus check, that's going to be one of the points of negotiation, as well as payroll tax, capital gains tax. I think those two will kind of fight against each other, and it's whether or not which side is willing to bend and how far. Because the thing about the stimulus check, or not even just the stimulus check, the stimulus package, McCullough and the Republicans, they're more conservative. Remember that. So they're really wanting to keep that stimulus package at about $1 trillion. Where the Democrats have more of the mindset that we need to do what's needed, and in some ways, it doesn't really have any, they don't really take the cost into consideration, which can be a good thing because they're trying to meet the needs. And then after it, really think about, okay, how will we pay for this? What is going to be next? So again, you got the stimulus checks, which McCullough had said that the people who make under $40,000, they're the ones that he really wants to see the cash go with. But the thing about that is, and I know that can be in the news recently, the thing about that piece is if the whole point of the stimulus check is to put money back into the economy. So number one, that as opposed to Americans and people, when you look at the whole breadth of the economy, there are so many people who are out of work, not just people that made $40,000 or less. So mathematically speaking, not even just my personal opinion, mathematically speaking, it doesn't really make sense to give only a stimulus check to that small portion. But again, there may be other points where they're looking to stimulate the economy. So if they do the stimulus check that way and then agree upon the payroll tax, the capital gains tax cuts that Donald Trump and other Republicans really want to see. The other thing is they want to look at liability protection. Now, the liability protection is really more because one thing that hadn't been mentioned in any of these conversations that is becoming more of a topic now is getting children back to school. And the whole point of getting children back to school is not only does it kind of prevent the child's educational growth, which is a needed and structure of how we run our economy, but it also prevents Americans, moms, dads from getting back to work. And that has been one of those things that has come up, but that's one of the reasons why they wanted liability protections for not only businesses, but just as we start to try to navigate, they saw or they foresee that there could be problems for businesses opening back up. There could be problems when people get back to school, things of that nature. The next thing I want you to think about is what else can they consider? What are all the things that are not being talked about as much as the stimulus. Well, again, we had the stimulus check. Again, we had the capital gains, the tax cuts, the kids getting back to school, as well as what the liability protection. The biggest thing that is the focus is what, even if it is approved, what's going to be the timeline, the specifics. And the reason why everyone talks about their plan, the biggest thing that no one really has said is the specifics. And we don't really know how it's going to all play out, but we do know from both sides, the full commitment is once they get back on recess, it's all about stimulus, negotiating, writing, and getting a bill to Trump to have this thing wrapped up before the end of July. And that's something that you can actually be hopeful for. Again, don't be discouraged about what you may be hearing in the news. Again, try not to listen to too much news at this time, because they're taking bits and pieces and then they're running with it and creating a narrative that isn't often consistent with what is actually happening when it comes to the Congress and the next step. And just to remember, once they create a bill, both sides have to vote. It has to be sent to the president. There's next steps, but keep in mind, I don't want you to think, oh, it's going to be another 2 months. Well, even it was mentioned the CARES Act, they did relatively fast. And when both sides have already agreed, Trump is really like the last step in that whole process. So be hopeful. The stimulus check is coming to be the biggest priority. And I hope you like this video. If you like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out as far as getting this information out. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.